formed. And
whatever heals,
whatever heals.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, and it doesn't sound like such a bad place either. White room.
It was a white room. It was just a white room where everyone quiet, peaceful.
I have one. No, but seriously, I just think that a lot of times, I mean, we have to find what works for our own mental well-being and try to get through that. I mean, no one could say that what you've been through would be easy enough to be like, oh, that's just whatever. And it's amazing that you were able to do that and then come to, strong today. And not only that, but then talk about it later and help all these people and help us, it's amazing, Cole.
Thank you. But I have to tell you, it's kind of having dissociation is actually very beneficial in a lot of ways, because when I'm talking about it, it doesn't seem like it's my story. I know it's my story, but it doesn't seem like my story. So I'm very separate from it. And it's not until later that I'll react to it. And when I was dealing with all of this in the beginning, I didn't deal with the actual trauma at first. I mean, that had to come, of course, but I had to deal with, okay, there's these parts of me that are arguing and fighting, and I need to get on that first. I need to work on that. That's where the journaling and all of that stuff came into play, because I had to work on that before I can even work on the trauma. Mm-hmm. And that was the way it had to be, because they're all, like you said, different personalities, different views, different thought processes, and they all, and of course, recovery is different for each and every one of them too.
Right. So different memories too.
Different memories. You ever done the ACE study? You know what the ACE study is?
No.
It's an ACE study, actually. They're trying to push it more into the schools. So they give a test to see how much trauma a child has. So it's like a statistic rate of what will happen if they get older and what could possibly happen, like if they become addicted to alcohol or drugs. So they're really trying to push it in the school systems. It's a really great program, and a great way to just kind of test what's going on out there. And so I took the ACE test, but I had multiples take the ACE test, and everyone came up with a different score. So that was kind of interesting. The highest is 10, and I had some that didn't have any trauma at all, and then I had some that had full trauma. So that's kind of interesting.
Amazing.
Cole, there was one thing that you said where you said you had to build a relationship with yourself, and honestly, that kind of hits home for me, because I think everyone needs to work on that. It's especially as you just watch people react. I think everybody has different sides to themselves in some respect, of course, not like yours and not from the extreme. But it's not a bad thing. And for me, I think learning to appreciate the things that I had and the person that I was really important in actually being able to accept what I was dealing with. So I liked what you said with that. And then when you also said that the DID or the disassociation did have some, benefits in some ways, I have stated that many times with bipolar, because although I was, very unhappy and I would never want to go back in that direction, there were certain things that it did protect me from. I really didn't have an idea of stress or the future. I did not really think about, how I'm going to afford rent the next month. That just wasn't even a question.
Right.
So I can see there's, definitely, ways that I'm glad you were able to protect yourself so that you could heal. What you went through is just horrifying to me. I have two lovely nieces, and to think of them in that same situation it just makes my stomach turn. So, I really appreciate what you're doing. And the fact that you stuck with it, and I'm so happy that you had a husband that was there and could actually see the moment and give you really, a good idea and a path to start on. That's really a fun thing and you deserve to have some happiness after what you went through. Oh my goodness. So I'm just, what you're doing is really wonderful. And the people that go through this, just PTSD is just horrible. And to get to the point where you have the CPTSD with the prolonged abuse is just such a sad thing. So it's so happy the fact that you are whole and you're out there helping other people. So that's a wonderful thing. And I just want you to know that.
Thank you. And for me, it's, something so horrific that happened, we got to have purpose for it, you know, and this is my purpose, you know, is to help other people. It can't be done in vain, you know, like if that happened to me, I don't want that to happen to other people, of course, but if people are living with it, to have that support is so like on my heart to do that. And I have a desire to really just be able to know that other people that are dealing with this, like there's someone here that can listen and someone who gets it. And I think that's a big part of recovery for anything, any type of mental illness, just to know someone's there who's like, oh yeah, I get it. And that was really helpful for me in my journey of recovery.
Not only that, but you're finding out this stuff and empathetically, what somebody would be having to go through nobody likes to admit that there's a history of abuse. A lot of people are very ashamed of it. Right. And very shameful and guilt and, you know, should-haves, could-haves, you know, things like that. But not only that, then fear of being labeled as with a mental health diagnosis, in which shouldn't be a shameful thing, but a lot of people look at it like that. So imagine why that's how many people aren't getting diagnosed, aren't coming in for help, because not only do they not want to face the past, but they don't want to face what's going on mentally too, because they don't want to be quote unquote crazy.
Right. And it's true. It's true.
And especially with something that might be looking like what Kirk said, schizophrenia or, you know, that kind of stuff where people are like, I definitely don't want to be tagged as that. It'd be a lot to go through, a lot.
Yeah, I think so. For me, I don't know if it was so much about being labeled. Actually, when I discovered what it was, it made so much more sense, and it was like a relief.
You wanted to understand what was going on.
Yeah, it made sense. I was like, oh, now it makes sense. You know, I think for me, I had more of like guilt survival. Like I felt guilty for surviving, and that there were people that didn't survive, and because I had saw a lot of murders as well, and so that was difficult to see and to, you know, be like, oh, I saw that and I witnessed it and I survived it. And so there was a lot of guilt and shame about that. I think I dealt with that the most. That was the hardest part. And to be honest, I still struggle with that. Like that's still something that I'm struggling with, but I'm working through it. And I know that it's not me. It's not my fault.
It's not your fault. That's what I was just going to say. Yeah. It's never a child's fault. And
absolutely
there's nothing
not.
You could have done. And surviving is all we know instinctually to do. That's what we all just want to just get through life.
Just the resilience that we have. Yeah. Children just have amazing resilience anyways. So
yes. And you know, I mean, but and they also, you know, carry a lot of shame and guilt that is undeserved. And we have to, you know, come together as a society and educate so people know it's not their fault. It's not.
That's true.
And I want to welcome callers to call in 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340. If you have any questions or feedback or stories to share. It's time for our second break, Ed, and 866-826-1340. Kirk, just hold on, and we'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you looking for a great book? If you like to root for the underdog, Joe Potosi's book is a book for you. A real American Odyssey that will grab your attention with its fast-moving narrative. You won't be able to put this masterpiece down. When the Dust Settled by Joe Potosi. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Zulin Press.
Hi, this is Tiffany Werner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Werner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Werner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hi, and welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity. My name is Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today, my guests are discussing their history with living with mental health issues, especially some critical ones, bipolar and dissociative identity disorder, which was formerly known as multi-personality disorder, and some severe ways our mind splinters and protects us from harm. And understanding it, and I want to clarify, there's no shame in seeking help, and there's no labels that there should be no labels. You know, nobody should live with that. Labels are for food, not people.
That's right.
And I want to welcome back to Moments of Clarity Kirkpatrick Miller is calling it, and our guest today, Cole Ian. And thank you guys so much for sharing your story. It's very fascinating. Even, I mean, I've been doing this my whole life, like the mental health piece for 20 years. There's never enough knowledge in the mental health area that we can learn from each other.
That's true. I'm constantly learning.
And so,
well, that's always helpful. Just anytime you can pick up a little extra bits, and I honestly find the more I research, I find better tools, and I continually kind of improve my own management techniques as well. So I think it's always a good thing to kind of stay involved. And I did like one thing that Cole said, where she felt very, kind of obligated to help others. For me, I that's why I do what I do. Is because when I was lucky enough to kind of escape it, at least the really horrible parts and where I was kind of going with my life, I felt very, very blessed and lucky to actually, escape. And I don't think there's a normal for me, but I certainly am consistent. And so part of my drive is to help others. And I really liked what you said, Cole, about doing the same thing. And I know that's it's a big driving force for me.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And like, Cole is actually going to speak tonight at Harborside Christian Church and share her whole story. And tonight, and you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it's at Harborside Christian Church in Safety Harbor, off of Marshall Street, 22.
It's right by my office too.
Yeah. So I'll be
Marshall
speaking,
Street, Safety Harbor.
Yep, 2200 Marshall Street, and it's at Harborside Christian Church. It's 7 p.m. and I will be speaking my testimony, celebrating 9 years of my recovery.
Yay, 9 years.
9 years of really working it. And so I celebrate it tonight, and I'm going to share my whole story.
Is this the first time you're going to share the whole story?
No, it's not. I share every year. I guess it was probably about 6 years ago I started to share. And as I began to learn more things, I began to put more things together. So I just keep adding to it as I grow and I learn more things about myself and just about my past and how the healing process has been going for me. So I'll be sharing a whole bunch of good stuff and bad stuff and not so good stuff.
Stuff that people need to understand of why things like happen, that these things happen to, innocent people. It's definitely a side effect of horrific abuse and so many things that are out there that shouldn't be happening.
Absolutely.
And so it's just what advice would you give somebody that maybe feels that they're feeling symptoms of a disassociation, or in this question is for you too, Kirk, of manic episodes or things, and they're confused and afraid to go and figure this out, afraid to go seek help?
Well, I think
that's a good question.
That is a good question. I think for me, I just want to encourage anyone who's feeling any type of form of dissociation. I think the fear of talking to someone is a big deal. Like, people just don't want to talk about it because they're scared, like you said before. But I want to encourage them to, go to my website, diddiscoveringhope.org, and there's my phone number, and you can always call me, and we can just talk. And I have people that do that. They don't feel comfortable going to therapy. They won't go to therapy, and they just will call me, and sometimes they'll talk to me for 2 hours over the